So the two commodities that booming is oil palm and coal. If you look at this graph, it's 2000, oil palm is going quite fast. And as this is the production in terms of its index, but it is the value, and coal. Oil palm actually has been having this trend since mid-1980s. While coal is just recently, which is after the decentralization in 2000, coal is start going up.
This is in value, yeah?
This is in value, yeah? And you can compare this with natural gas and oil, which is natural gas and oil production has been relatively stable. Okay. And so, if you look at the export of those commodities, you can also see that CPO, which is the product of oil palm, is actually also increasing quite fast. This one is Indonesia, the red one, and this one is Malaysia. And since 2008, we beat Malaysia basically on the value of export for CPO. And this is the rest of the world. So really exporting CPO is about Indonesia and Malaysia. Yeah? But thing has been discussed is actually why Indonesia being able to beat Malaysia is not because of productivity, but rather the land that has been used for this oil palm is actually quite intensive. We will come back to that issue later on. Next. And if you look also export of mining, you can see that this is all Indonesian mining. You can see that coal is actually increasing quite sharp, especially in the last 5 years. No other minings actually being able to do these things. See, this is $1 billion. So, you know, in 2011, export of coal is almost $30 billion. If we come back, you can see that export of CPO is actually around $14 billion. So actually, coal export is 2 times bigger than CPO. And next, and if you look at the contribution of these two commodities, next, to our export in terms of percentage, this is coal and palm oil. And this is oil and gas. Percentage is actually decline. So coal and palm oil since 2000, percentage of our export is actually quite increased. So by 2011, almost more than 20% of our export is actually coal and palm oil. Yeah? So these two commodity is actually booming since 2000s. Yeah? And but right now Indonesia is actually considered the largest export of both coal and palm oil.
Larger than Australia?
Larger than Australia, which is a bit surprising. We will come back about that again, that issue.
Well, it's thermal coal, isn't it? Thermal coal. There are several.
I'm not classifying. This is in a value. Yeah, I'm not a classification in detail which kind of coal. Yeah, there has been a difference between Indonesian coal and Australian coal. But right now, Indonesia is on top of export for these two commodities. So these two commodities is actually booming.
Is it mostly to China and India?
Yeah, both of them is actually mostly to China and India. So like coal, yeah, palm oil also some of them to EU, but India is much bigger. And for coal, Korea is also big, Japan is also big. And those two commodities is actually interesting. Can we go? And this is, you know, whether this booming is actually has an impact at the local level. So that is something that we would like to know. And we look at Sakernas with the help of one over there. We collect data about number of people that working directly in this sector. So if for oil palm plantation by 2010, we know that almost 1.8 million people working in that sector directly. So a lot of people actually already in this sector, and most of them are outside Java. So they are actually one of the dominated sector that absorbing labor outside Java. And among outside Java, mostly is Sumatra and Kalimantan. So that is significant in those two islands. And if you look at the coal worker, coal number of people that directly working in coal is also increased, particularly in 2011. Though the characteristic is a little bit different. Permanent worker is dominated in the sector, while on the other sector, permanent worker is not dominated, because many of them are small holders, so they own their own land and economic activity. And it's about it's not as many as palm oil, but it's quite significant. Around 250,000 people are directly in the coal mining. This is not including, other economic that actually grew up within the coal and plantation economic activities. So if it is we calculate indirect impact on labor of these two commodities is quite significant, particularly because they are concentrated in area Sumatra and Kalimantan. And we look at the wages of this worker. This is the wages of permanent worker. This one is this is for coal. Yeah. This is for mining excluding coal, which is still higher than coal, but coal is increasing and it could be much in the future. And this is actually oil palm. Yeah. It's actually this one. It is higher than food crop. So if those workers that would like to work in agriculture sector, palm oil is certainly more attractive than food crop. Mining is way above anybody else. Basically, this is the average of all sectors, and mining is so far above. It's almost double the average growth, the average wage of all sectors in the economy. So the attraction of this economy to the people is quite huge. So they are becoming like a magnet absorbing labor.
Is it because the mining workers require higher skills?
It could be, yeah. But this is the problem. So based on the number of people and the wage that actually happening in the sector, we believe that this boom, this community boom, have an impact on local. So it's not only at national level, producing deficit and so on, but at local level, these two commodities actually got an impact. Next. So we summarize about the impact of this boom. We believe that palm oil is actually significant to local economy. 1.7 million jobs has been created by this palm oil by 2011. It's 1.6% of total labor force. Wages is higher than food crop. Large smallholder involvement. 42% land that allocated or utilized for palm oil is actually smallholder palm oil. Yeah. And now palm oil is the largest exporter. As well as for coal, we believe that it has also strong local impact, 260,000 jobs. Wages is much higher, 70% much higher than the average wages. Growing contribution to government revenue. It used to be, now it's about 3% of government revenue come from coal. And it is also considered one of the largest exporters in the world. So we conclude that the benefit of this activity to the local economy outside Java certainly significant. Now, that is about the booming that's happening in the last 10 years. Yeah.
Could you say something about the regional distribution?
Mostly, I will show a map of coal mining, so you can see which area actually coal mining within Kalimantan. But in general, both of these activities are in Sumatra and Kalimantan. And Kalimantan probably much bigger on coal rather than Sumatra. But palm oil, Sumatra is probably more significant. Right now, rather than Kalimantan. So
Where in Kalimantan and where in Sumatra?
well, Kalimantan is almost everywhere.
Mhm.
Yeah, almost everywhere. Right now there is an issue because they're using the pit area, isn't it? So on Kalimantan over there, but also on Sumatra, it's also almost everywhere from the north until the south. You have palm oil right now. Right now, if you go to both Kalimantan or Sumatra, if you just go outside the city, the economy is either palm oil or coal, and they are very close there. So the competition between those palm oil, coal, and conservation forest is so tight. You know, they just really interact to each other so close. So there's always you see conflict between among them if you go outside Java and Sumatra. But in Kalimantan, I will show you a map of coal reserve later on. All right, so now I turn to another issue, which is the green growth. Yeah? The green growth is a commitment that SB made several times. Yeah? There are several forces why he would like to do so. Certainly it starts from COP13, 2007, in which Indonesia has been seen by the world that we are one of the largest emitters, and so we need to do something. International support also influencing the domestic opinion about this, possibility of international support and so on. And SBA itself would like to be the leader of environmental list among developing countries. So then this paradigm has been added or been expanded into pro-growth, pro-job, pro-poor, and now pro-environmental as well. The other reason to do this is that the Indonesian economy is growing quite well. So including this green growth activity probably a good time. The idea of green growth is not to slow growth, but rather address market failure and so then to decouple growth from environmental damage. Yeah. So basically, make the economy, Indonesian economy, looks much more environmentally friendly. So this is what SBA want. Next, there's two things about this green growth becoming the main issue. One is that emission reduction, which is SBA has been committed to reduce emission to up to 26% against business as usual by Indonesia itself, but if there's international support, could achieve 41%. So there has been an activities to achieve this goal, such as there is a national plan on that. Although the issue in energy is energy sector emission is increasing, there has been also a program on diverse the source of energy, such as geothermal and so on. But this is all planned. The main challenge is certainly human capital and energy subsidy. That's still quite big. I don't want to go to that energy subsidy, but I'll go to other issue within this commitment on green growth. Next. The other issue is certainly forest, Indonesian forest. Because forest right now is emitting about 60 to 70% of Indonesian emission. So in addition, if SBA would like to commit on green growth, the number one that he needs to tackle is issue on forestry. Thanks. The main issue on forestry is actually the deforestation rate in Indonesia. You can see that the deforestation rate, although declined, but still high compared to other rich tropical forest countries. This is, for example, this is 685,000 hectare per year during last 5 years. The number right now, if we move to the number right now, it is claimed right now is 500,000 hectares in 2011. So still Indonesia, although it has been declined, have a high deforestation rate compared to other rich tropical forest country. And so if SB would like to achieve a green growth, the number one that you need to tackle is this deforestation rate.
I have a question. If you look at the deforestation per square meter, then maybe it's even higher. It's not that high because Brazil and Congo, the land area is much larger than Indonesia.
Okay, we can go back to this is the way to read it. This is the level, yeah, a level of average deforestation per year, and this is the rate. So you can either, so for example, comparing Indonesia with Brazil in 2005-2010. So Brazil yearly is much in level is much higher than Indonesia, but in percentage Indonesia is higher than Brazil. Yeah, this is because Brazil got much more forest than Indonesia. Yeah, so what we discussed about that Indonesia have a higher rate of deforestation is the percentage reduction, not that level. Yeah? The level right now in the last 5 years is 685, and the claim last year is 500,000. So there has been a reduction of deforestation. Although
in 2011,
although what people say certainly policy matters, but right now it's also because it's much more difficult to get a good wood in the forest.
Budy, I'm assuming that this data reflects the official data, right? So
this is from FIO. Yeah.
So does it include the illegal deforestation or just the reported deforestation?
So they don't care what happened. What they look is using an image, satellite image. So that's they don't, they don't know what is it because illegal or legal, but the number of forest area has been declined.
So I'm assuming that if the data comes from the Ministry of Forest, it probably that's due to the legal.
I think Ministry of Forest right now acknowledge those activities. Yeah, so if they calculated that, they probably already acknowledged that activity. Yeah, so next. So certainly this need to be reduced. Yeah, that's probably the number one issue for Indonesia to achieve this green growth is actually reducing this deforestation. There has been several progress on these activities right now. This is based on our survey, our interview last month. Next. So the number one progress is the effort to implement REDD+. There has been a commitment from Norway to give donate $1 billion if Indonesia able to conduct REDD+. And SB is very serious about this because he asked Pak Kuntoro to lead this activity. That is how serious he is because he asked his right-hand person to start doing this activity. There has been REDD plus national strategy. Friends from governors probably know more. And there has been a proposal to form an REDD agency to lead these activities. In the ground, there has been a lot of demonstration activities. Not all successful, but there has been an activities.
Against deforestation.
Yeah, the demonstration activity for REDD plus, basically providing financial incentive to local, and so they don't take the forest. Now, this is I consider the progress, although it doesn't guarantee that this will be successful. Yeah, but I consider this one progress. Next, the next progress that I would consider about reducing deforestation is the team, the Pak Kuntoro team, has been able to produce this presidential decree basically banning new permits to clear primary and peatland forests for 2 years only, 2011 and 2012. Although it's a short period, yeah, and only include the new permit, not the existing permit, so deforestation is still happening. But I consider this as a quite brave activity achievement, because never before we have this kind of ban. So if we are successful, we probably will see possibility to have extension of this ban. Although it's not clear, yeah, there has been a debate whether SB and his team care enough to extend this ban. In the implementation, it's not always good as what the degree is. For example, in the case of the Aceh, the government provided a permit for a palm oil company.
The provincial government.
The provincial government. And then there are other issues that in which local government is actually giving permit on those on the forest area, which is supposed to be not to by this residential degree. Some of the NGO collecting this number. The number they collect is quite a lot. I don't know whether that's true or not. But the one that's quite big and has been into the media is the several, which is one of them is the Timba case in Aceh. So these two are achievement. Although there has been challenge on implementing these things, and we collected some of the challenge. You can see next. Number one is international market for emission around the world is not there. Yeah, so who is going to pay for this? That's an issue. It will be only G2G, which is there is some limitation. Certainly, it's only G2G. How we are also not sure whether the REDD plus, when it is established, Pak Kuntaro said that the letter has been there, only need by SB to sign, but we don't know whether it is will become a strong agency or not, because it should work together with a lot of agencies that has been there much longer than it is. So in the ground, land tenure is still an issue, forest monitoring is difficult, emission measurement is not that clear, and local conflict are everywhere. So REDD plus, although we think this is an important to sustain Indonesian forests, but whether it's successful or not is still an issue. And two things that are important. One is that we think whether the next president, after 2014, whether the next president is actually supporting this idea. If not, then probably this idea will be dying. And the other thing is actually the economic of alternative land use is very attractive, which is coming from the two commodity bones that I've been mentioning before. So what are these things? How essentially the conflict between a program to sustain Indonesian forest and this commodity booms that I've been talking. Next, these are some of the issues that we collected. Well, number one is that oil palm is a large contributor of deforestation and certainly then emission from peatland. Right now it's about 9 million hectares has been allocated, and there will be more. Next. This is show the land used for palm oil compared to other estate crops. Palm oil increased since 1996 sharply. Average of 400,000 hectares per year has been converted to palm oil. Remember last year in 2011, deforestation number is about 500,000, while land that converted to palm oil is 400. So it's very close. So many of those 500 of deforestation could be part of this land change to palm oil. So this is the one pressure, yeah, on controlling deforestation emission, because this is so attractive, creating booming. A lot of people can go over there. Wage in this area is also higher than if they only work in food crop. Next. So there has been an option that, well, palm oil expansion should be only integrated area. Well, that could be, yeah, it could solve the issue, but certainly whether it is possible to do that is an issue as well. And what is probably very important is because of this, we don't degrade an area, a forest area. So there has been cases, for example, this is what I see for the mining operation. Some of the mining company would like to go to conservation forest, and the Ministry of Forest said, well, this is a conservation area, we have a lot of wood and so on, and suddenly there has been an illegal mining happening in this area for about a month, and then they said, good, there is no forest anymore over there, the land has been degraded. So those issues we need to handle as well. Although it's good that we allocate palm oil and mining into degraded area, but it is certainly not to create incentive to degrade forest area. Next. Now, coal mining is also land intensive, mostly in previous forest area. Reclamation in Indonesia is relatively very weak, creating pollution as well. Next, this is showing potential mining area in Kalimantan, and you can see this is East Kalimantan, quite big area, actually has a potential of mining operation. And so possible conflict between deforestation and mining is certainly there, because so big mining area in Kalimantan is so big. And right now there has been like about 13 conflict between a protected forest and a mining operation. Not 13, I think it's more, but 13 is the one that that the mining operation is allowed to do operating in the area. So next. Now remember one thing about Indonesian coal mining, Indonesian coal mining production, not export, production is only 437 million tons. So it is much smaller than China, much smaller than the United States. Australia is only like this. So in terms of production, we are actually among the top 5. But most of this is actually exported. That is why Indonesia is becoming the biggest exporter. But if you look at coal reserve, Indonesia coal reserve is nothing compared to China, United States, Australia. It's a very small coal reserve. While we are actually producing so high. So if you look over there, it's probably Indonesia coal mining can only operate for about 12 more years. So our activity in coal mining is booming, sharp, but we are mining like hell. We're mining as fast as possible, like there is no tomorrow, basically. So certainly this won't be sustained. There's an issue of Indonesian mining, not only about land conflict, which is creating an issue whether Indonesia could be achieving green, but also certainly there is an over exploitation of mining. So even like Poland, which have the same reserve, they just like 1/4 of Indonesian production. So our production certainly, very big and fast. And so based on this, I conclude that yes, coal and palm oil have been booming in the last 10 years or so, and the boom certainly, I do believe, provide large economic benefit, both at national and local level. Meanwhile, green growth concept is important, and it's probably a good momentum right now to steer the Indonesian economic growth away from business as usual to a much greener economy. But there's certainly much issue getting the right price and sustainable management of key natural resources, including those that are actually booming. And there has been serious tension between this commodity growth and green growth that need to be resolved. That's my presentation, and I hope I can receive more input from you. And these are some reference, some of the work that I've been doing in this area. The last one is with Paul Berg on survey of recent development. Thank you.
Thank you, Budy. It's actually on time. I think my reputation is already right. So, okay, maybe for the first round, we ask for 3 questions. Please state your name and then ask question to Mas Budy. Please, Mas. You can sit and I.
What's your question?
First 3 questions, please. 1.
Yeah, just question about your conclusion on the benefits of these booms, particularly the coal side. Did your analysis investigate or give a sense about whether the full potential of those benefits are being realised? I'm talking specifically about the jobs numbers. 260,000 seems like a small number for such a big industry, and the revenue you mentioned, it's a growing contribution, but is that contribution keeping pace with the growth in production and the growth in profits for the company? So I'm interested just to know whether they really are achieving the full economic benefits that
That's difficult to answer, but certainly whether it achieving the full benefit of this activity, I probably still they are not. Yeah. So for example, on palm oil, there has been involving a lot of people. 40% of the land that has been used has been actually smallholders, but smallholders' productivity is low. Yeah. So if, for example, there has been better productivity, certainly could be better. Second is conflict has been everywhere, both in palm oil and in mining, and conflict is costly. There are some people that actually, have to pay the cost of this conflict, and there's also an issue whether Indonesia actually capture, rent. Mining rent that Indonesia should capture, yeah. So there has been an issue on that. So I certainly think that it's not probably the maximum that we can get from these two booms, but so far the boom is actually benefiting people. And if you look between the conflict between preserving and this economic activity, while there is benefit, it doesn't matter whether this is maximum or not, still creating a pressure on this conservation.
Okay, second question. Pak Teh and then Pak Chris.
Yeah, in the latest OECD report of Indonesia, which was released 2 weeks ago, it was also mentioned that Indonesia has not paid enough emphasis on the resource rent tax. My second question is, if so much land is used for oil palm plantations, then these two islands will become a monoculture, which makes them very vulnerable to diseases. And my third question deals with the local population, particularly with Dayaks. What effect does it have on the Dayaks?
On the issue on rent tax, yes, there has been a lot of difficulties on this mining, particularly mining rent tax. Yeah. Number one is that whether the tax right now is actually the right tax. The second is the issue on the collection. Yeah, whether the collection is actually effective. The fiscal office said that no, it's not effective. And the third is that the illegal mining is as big, probably quite big right now. It's very big, and you cannot basically, very small rent that you can take. And national is there's no rent to go to national, basically. So there has been a lot of issue on this particularly mining as well as palm oil. But mining is, in terms of this achieving rent taxes, mining is a bigger issue. Yeah. Illegal mining grew up since after 2001 to 1999, when we get crisis and people go to trying to get money from resources, and they go to a lot of them go to illegal mining, and this is actually booming. And in some area the size is quite big. So that. And how about what happened with the local people? That's something that probably I don't really know quite well. Dayu, my wife, probably knows much better on that. Yeah, I don't know about whether they actually get benefit or not. For example, Kalimantan is quite difficult. Yeah, along the Banjarmasin, most of them are Banjar people. Yes, Banjar people got involved in those activities. Yeah, but Dayak is very limited. Yeah, but Banjar is local people as well.
Yeah.
And so, if the issue where the local people is actually benefiting, yes, but certainly some of the local people, not all of the local people.
Next question, Patrice.
Would just following on from the first question, what are the provincial government versus central government incentives in both those commodities for giving permits for land? How big are the incentives in coal and in oil palm for the regional government, for the Kabupaten or the provincial government, as against the revenues to the central government?
This is quite big, yeah, because if it is still forest, the one that control is central government through Ministry of Forest. But if it is already land for other than forest, which is could be palm, it is actually managed by local government. So local government has a strong incentive to change this land use from forest to other than forest.
Do they get their revenue benefits from that? Sorry.
And then the other revenue go to the local government if it is already palm oil. But if it is still forest production, it's go to the Ministry of Forestry. And then the second is on mining. Yeah. Central government has been giving mining license, typically to a lot of big area. Like what happened in Sulawesi is what there's an international company got this big area. And that company has been having license for a while, and they don't exploit all the area. And so the local government on the area that has not been exploited, well, I haven't got anything, and my period is only 5 years. What should I do? They produce another local license, and so well, they give a local license, they get revenue. So, and the new mining law is actually allowing local government to produce a license. So in theory, the law said that if it is one kabupaten, it's supposed to be head of kabupaten. If the area is between kabupaten, it's the provincial government. If it is between provincial, is national. But you know, you can always claim that this is kabupaten area. Yeah, so difficult, but yeah. And each of them has a strong incentive because coal is lucrative, very lucrative. With a low technology, you can basically get a money in very short period of time, and market is basically ready. Yeah, so yeah.
So when you say the benefits go from palm oil to the local government, is this taxation benefit? I mean, company profits? Or
Yes,
what is it?
Value-added tax.
Value-added
Yeah,
tax.
value-added tax.
What is the revenue state?
Palm oil no, but mining, yeah.
Okay, second round of question, 3 more questions. Others? So with your name and one more? Yeah, Ibu. Okay, Pak Peter first.
I'm interested in energy use. Indonesia needs a lot of energy. Current consumption of electricity per capita is about 700. In Australia, it's 10,000, more than 10 times that. We know as economists, we know that we do not know how to achieve a decent standard of living without high energy consumption. I look at electricity, but other aspects of energy consumption are important as well. So there would appear to be a very strong need for Indonesia to get a lot of energy, and I'm interested in where Indonesia will get that. That's point one. Point two, there's clearly a price problem. So I mean, we've got a quantity problem and a price problem. Quantity problem is that the demand for all of this stuff is going up, zooming up. And second, they want cheap energy. They want a lot of cheap energy. So they want a lot of it, and they want it cheap. Now the best solution to that is coal. Coal is the Toyota of the sort of energy industry. What are the alternatives? The alternatives would appear to be gas or geothermal. Gas is just not doing very well. It's proving difficult to exploit, and geothermal, if anything, is even harder to exploit. So I guess I'm pretty pessimistic about this. I mean, the demand for coal is zooming up. Now, you made one key point, that you think the reserves are limited, but you also showed us great map of Kalimantan. I mean, I'm suspicious of those reserve figures. I'd want to actually look at the reserve figures more closely. I think Indonesia probably has a lot of coal. A lot of it's not very good quality coal, and they're probably going to use a lot of it. Now, I think it's an awful problem. I agree that it's an awful. Yes, yeah. I think it's an awful. I agree it's an awful problem.
So,
but I think it's going to.
okay, on the reserve, number one, I think the Indonesian reserve is not as big as we think. I think the number is probably correct. We probably only 7% of Australian coal reserve, and you know, we have been these things is happening, you know, again and again. For example, oil.
Yes.
Well, we got a lot of oil. Now, what? Gas. Also, well, we got a lot of gas. Now, what? Forest. You know, Indonesia is rich of forests now. You know, what? So we have several things. Yeah, we are very diverse, but we don't have a lot for Indonesia. That's number one. Number second is on energy strategy. I think number one, why it's so difficult to develop geothermal gas and so on is there is no national commitment. You know, if SB really have a national commitment, he will do it. It can be done. But certainly he needs to get out of the subsidy.
Yeah.
As long as he's not getting out of subsidy, there is no serious commitment. So on this green growth,
Well, the experience during the year was very discouraging, wasn't it? The subsidies.
There's one comment about green growth that I haven't said. You know, I've talked with some of the people in the government that, well, yes, SB is green. But number one said that if it is true green growth, what Indonesian fiscal, whether Indonesian fiscal is green or not. And currently Indonesian fiscal is not green. So it is jargon, which is good, we have this jargon. But in action, fiscal is still an issue. And there is another thing. Okay?
Pak Bambang Brojonegoro yesterday gave a talk at CNS. He really emphasized the importance of eliminating this fuel subsidy.
Okay.
And second question, please state your name and institution.
My name is Guntur from the World Bank. We met a few years ago in Makassar. Just you mentioned about the REDD Plus and all the funds coming down from Norway. And then previous question is also related with provincial. Now we know that currently the government is pushing the regional action plan on the greenhouse gases to capture, for the subnational government to capture the REDD funds. But currently, one of the largest issues is the transfer mechanism, the fund transfer mechanism between the national government to the subnational or within the subnational government. So, could you share us your view on that?
Yeah, it's difficult. Yeah. So, well, I've mentioned that the development of RDD is an achievement, but it certainly is not. I'm not saying that it's something that can be done easily. So those transfer is still an issue. There is not yet mechanism on how actually we're going to do the transfer. So there will be three agencies that will be built based on the national RDD strategy. Friend from Babnas probably know better. Number one is the RDD agency, RDD financial institution. This one is the one that has been handling revenue and then distribution of the revenue. And how they're going to do it, it still has been discussed. Agusari is probably the person that in charge on this issue. And he's quite optimistic, but yeah, the challenge is still there. We are not that clear. Monitoring is still an issue, so there will be an issue on claiming who is actually chipping what, and then how are we going to distribute this money so that basically creating the right incentive that people not do this deforestation. So there's a big challenge. Yeah. But certainly we need to do it step by step. And I think the next step that we need to see is whether the establishment of REDD Plus is actually happening, and this institution could be powerful enough to manage the RDD. If this institution is not powerful enough, then so there has been an institution actually assigned before. For example, the Dewan Nasional Perubahan Iklim, supposed to be an umbrella of climate change activity. But I should say that maybe in the future they will be successful, but right now they haven't been quite successful. So, we need to see that step by step, and if that is happening, then we can go to another step.
Pertanyaan berikutnya, pertanyaan juga dalam bahasa Indonesia, jadi tidak terbatas bahasa Inggris. So, kalau ada yang bertanya dalam bahasa Indonesia juga boleh. Please, Bu.
Maybe Indonesia juga sih. Pak Budy, tadi disampaikan energi natural resources for energy dari coal base itu kita terlalu kecil ya, kecil dibanding yang lainnya. Sekarang ini kita dalam proses menyusun kebijakan energi nasional oleh Dewan Energi Nasional dan sudah dimeja Presiden. Di situ salah satunya terlintas bahwa untuk coal base energy masih 30%. Ini melihat ini, dan di sisi lain kita melihat ini menjadi booming commodity yang unregulated, maksudnya sampai saat ini yang namanya domestic market application aja kayaknya belum sepenuhnya bisa diterapkan. Mungkin banyak fleksibel karena banyak yang coal energy yang masih coal yang masih diekspor daripada dikonsumsi dalam negeri. Kalau saya melihat ini dengan konteks kita masih tumbuh di atas 7% dari sekarang dengan MD3I percepatan itu, sebenarnya masih ini nggak sih logis? Kalau tidak, apa yang mesti dilakukan?
Saya nggak tahu ya, seperti saya kurang tahu jawaban yang seharusnya. Tapi memang 30% untuk coal dan energi untuk coal itu impact-nya on emission akan signifikan dan dalam waktu mungkin 30 tahunan atau 20 tahunan emission dari energi udah di atas deforestasi. So dan kalau saya sih nomor satu kita mesti having the right price. Ya. Coal saat ini terlalu murah untuk cost yang besar, which is cost-nya kan datangnya dari emission segala macam. Jadi working on mining rent itu nomor satu penting. Ya, jadi dia punya goal dua. Number one is untuk nge-reduce rate dari mining operation yang menurut saya terlalu besar. Ya, sekarang Pak Bambang menggunakan export tax, tapi export tax ya mungkin, tapi nggak 100% efektif, nggak sebaik kalau kita creating mining rent yang benar. Nah, kalau ada mining rent yang benar, maka cost dari coal kan akan lebih mahal. Dengan demikian energi lain bisa terlihat more attractive. Nah, kalau energi lain bisa lihat more attractive, tentunya kita bisa dapetin sumber energi dari resource yang lain. Dan Indonesia menurut saya sih 7% saya nggak tahu, tapi kalau 5% in the next 20 years kayaknya possible. Dan kalau kita yang nomor satu tuh geothermal. Kalau geothermal bisa kita beresin, itu alternatif sumber energi yang signifikan. Dan geothermal itu kan nggak hilang sebenarnya kan, kalau kita pakai jadi kita balikin lagi ke bawah kan. Ada isu kalau menurut teman-teman saya dari elektro, teknologinya susah buat airnya gimana tuh, itu banyak sekali makan air. Ya tapi itu bisa di-solve ya kalau kita memang punya komitmen.
Tapi katanya juga geothermal ini yang besar-besar hanya berapa spot tempat aja, yang lebih yang lain resource-nya terbatas, small scale aja jadinya. Yang kedua, geothermal itu kan dari desentralisasikan di daerah juga, di daerah pengadaan dan segala macam. Nah, ini menjadi problem akan berkaitan dengan kapasitas daerah.
So, ya saya setuju. Perlu ada, tapi gini deh. Kalau menurut saya, kalau kita boleh menyimpang sedikit ya soal komitmen untuk melakukan environmental policy, menurut saya ada beberapa tips ya yang saya percaya bisa berhasil. Number one, 100% komitmen dari orang nomor satu. Nah, contohnya misalnya kita punya sedikit beberapa environmental program yang sukses, dan menurut saya yang selalu saya bicarakan anggap sukses adalah PHT. Ya, sukses itu nomor 1 karena Pak Harto mau itu jadi. Ya. Nomor 2, administrasi breakthrough mesti ada. Jadi sekarang kita selalu kalau kita mau melakukan apapun juga policy ada administrasi problem, ya. Dan ini kita harus creating administrasi. Misalnya sekarang juga ada administrasi problem.
PHT tadi
apa?
PHT.
Pengendalian hama terpadu. Ya. Ya. Menurut saya sih bisa, dan kalau kita memang dapat political support 100% untuk melaksanakan itu. Yang sulitnya kan dengan misalnya contohnya green growth ini kan sebenarnya kita nggak punya political support. Maksudnya Pak Presiden mau, tapi benar-benar political support itu kan datangnya kalau sekarang itu datangnya dari DPR. Ya, true political support. DPR mau nggak support seperti itu?
Oke, kita masih punya 5 menit, mungkin satu pertanyaan lagi. Ibu, silakan.
Dari sini.
Ya.
Terima kasih, mungkin saya dalam bahasa Indonesia saja. Mengenai green growth ya, ini sebetulnya saya juga tidak tahu, saya mengamati saja bahwa di beberapa kabupaten itu adalah kabupaten konservasi gitu, mereka mendaftarkan sebagai kabupaten konservasi di Indonesia, termasuk salah satunya adalah Kabupaten Malino di Kalimantan Timur gitu. Nah, sebenarnya yang jadi menarik itu tadi kalau misalnya kita bahas bahwa perkebunan itu dan konversi lahan itu secara nilai ekonomi akan lebih menarik gitu kayaknya dengan ketimbang dengan mengkonservasi gitu. Nah, sekarang sebetulnya yang menjadi permasalahan adalah kita mungkin belum sanggup memberikan atau menunjukkan atau membuktikan bahwa sebetulnya konservasi juga bisa menarik atau memberikan semacam insentif ekonomi atau seperti itu gitu. Itu karena mungkin keterbatasan data ya, artinya seperti PDRB hijau atau baik di tingkat provinsi dan tingkat kabupaten itu belum ada gitu Pak. Nah, apakah ada mungkin tidak melakukan perhitungan sampai ke tingkat kabupaten? Kalau provinsi mungkin masih visible ya Pak ya, dari data-datanya masih mendukung, tetapi untuk ke tingkat kabupaten datanya lebih sulit, sedangkan kebijakan itu sebetulnya kebijakan konservasi itu lebih bermain di tingkat lokal yang paling kecil gitu Pak. Menurut pandangan Bapak seperti apa?
Jadi sekarang kan banyak nih kegiatan mau bikin PDRB hijau. Saya sih setuju saja, cuma masalahnya tuh nggak translated into local people. Ya, satu kabupaten bilang ini PDRB hijau kita, kalau kita mau pilih seperti ini, tapi di local people apa translationnya? Nggak ada. Kan itu yang jadi masalah. Jadi kita bisa on paper, wah ini gini, tapi nggak ada translationnya. Padahal untuk bisa sukses environmental policy, satu hal lagi adalah direct benefit to the local people. So karena kita nggak bisa, makanya ada REDD kan. Jadi kita suplemen mereka dengan money. Ya. Nah, itu sebenarnya nomor 1 untuk creating incentive to local people. Jadi sekarang gimana sih kalau hal lain yang bisa kita lakukan selain misalnya REDD? Dengan waktu saya diskusi dengan Pol kamu buat ekoturism, makanya di survei kita ngomongin juga sedikit tentang ekoturism, but it's a long way to go. Yeah. So, jadi yang penting untuk bisa konservatif itu harus creating incentive that local people untuk mau melakukan konservatif. Jadi planning sih boleh-boleh aja planning kalau gini, tapi kalau local people incentive-nya nggak ada.
Jadi artinya bahwa mekanisme pemberian pasar itu yang belum bisa diformulasikan kan ya?
Iya, dan uangnya juga dari mana? Uangnya dari mana? So kita masih terus ya. Misalnya contohnya kan REDD ini dikatakan private sector nggak terlalu banyak yang tertarik untuk jadi distribusi uang sekarang ini kan janjinya baru G2G. Padahal banyak kan dulu yang mana negara mana yang dijanjikan Eropa kayak gini ekonominya. I still believe that they're going to give money for REDD. So ini masih banyak, tapi ya kita harus optimis ya, artinya there's always jalan gitu loh. Ya coba misalnya apa aja sih dicoba misalnya untuk bisa konservasi. Karena kan sekarang kan masalahnya kan benefit dari konservasi itu untuk sebagian besar orang tahu, tapi nggak bisa translated ke local people, itu masalahnya. Menurut saya ya.
Oke, waktunya tinggal 1 menit. Mau 1 pertanyaan lagi Mas Budi? 1 lagi. Abis ini.
Oke, simple. Tadi harga coal naik terus.
Tadi production.
Oh,
Harga coal sebenarnya agak turun sekarang.
agak turun.
Price well, but over that long period, price
Bener-bener ya, tapi ya 2
Yang
tahun
turun pas pada tahun
terakhir.
price. Nah, kalau saatnya kita lihat harganya naik terus kemudian produksi kita, stok kita juga nggak banyak, tapi growth-nya itu tinggi. Sementara negara yang lain itu punya reserve yang besar, ya. Tapi mereka kenapa nggak growth production growth-nya itu nggak tinggi? Sementara kalau ngeliat price-nya itu kan naik terus. Kira-kira apa faktor yang bikin mereka tuh streaming production?
Kan itu kan capital, ya. Resources itu kan capital. Jadi Anda punya uang mau pakai sekarang atau besok, ya. Tentunya it's about how you value future use, gitu kan. Nah, kalau saya bilang ya nomor 1 mereka melakukan gitu allocation through time. Ini kan capital, dan capital itu juga sebenarnya kan tumbuh terus, ya. It's very much more scary in the future. Jadi pasti harga akan naik terus sebenarnya.
Ada dari itu, kira-kira ada policy yang bisa mengakibatkan
Kenapa
streaming?
Kalau mereka kan streaming karena diatur, ya, mereka ngatur. Kalau kita kan sekarang kenapa bisa? Menurut saya kebablasan plus nggak ada policy yang menahan itu semua. Ya. Jadi misalnya awal-awal itu kan gede banget, terus sekarang semua. Dan juga yang lagi melakukan sekarang ini aktivitas itu punya kepentingan cuma untuk beberapa tahun, 10 tahun, 5 tahun, yang mereka nggak lihat untuk 20 tahun lagi itu sebenarnya hanya negara aja yang bisa concern untuk itu. Sementara private individu license-nya license saya berapa tahun nih sekarang? 10 tahun. So saya mesti ekstrak secepat-cepatnya. Dan yang lagi jadi isu lagi sebenarnya kan sebagian besar orang-orang yang pegang license di big company di mining itu punya close to politik. Sekarang mereka punya insentif untuk menggunakan uang ini untuk kepentingan mereka di politik. Jadi kalau kita lihat 20 besar orang Indonesia terkaya pasti punya coal, banyak yang punya coal.